Hey there, I hope everybody has been having a great summer so far. Apologize that the monthly market report that I'm bringing to you this week is actually a week late. And that's because I was on vacation last week. So, had a great time, was good to get away. And if you haven't gotten anywhere yet, I hope that you're able to as well. I can tell you that the airports were packed, the planes were packed, the restaurants were packed, and it was pretty much business as usual for the part of Florida that I was actually in. So I've got a lot to cover this month, so I'm going to jump right into it. And you may have noticed that, or gotten a sense that the real estate market is shifting a little bit. And if you've seen any of the reports I've done over the past couple of months, you'll know that it's something we were talking about and have actually been expecting. I mean, the market's obviously been crazy, and everybody knows it can't continue that way. It's not sustainable, and it has all kinds of speculation on what's going to happen in the months ahead. Lots of talks of, is the market going to crash? What's happening with foreclosures and forbearances? And is this a bubble? And is now a good time to buy? All sorts of questions. So I want to run through that with you here today. So for those that don't know, my name is Andrew with the Andrew Smith team at eXp Realty. And the first sense that you may have is that, as I mentioned, things are changing a little bit. And you may have noticed that the market seems to be slowing slightly. I do mean slightly. I mean, let's not get overly excited with any of this. It is slight, but I will say that buyer activity is starting to wane just a little bit. Honestly, I think buyers are just getting tired. It's been a tough market, and anyone trying to buy a home, whether resale or new construction, it's been like going 10 rounds with Tyson. It's been tough. I mean, you're getting beaten up out there. And that is starting to change and shift a little bit due to the fact that some buyers have just given up. They're saying, I don't want to do this anymore, right? I'm tired, and we're going to take a break. Others are really concerned about the direction of the market. So, first off, here, as we do this, I'm going to share this slide with you. I'm going to move myself out of the way here, as the slide's a lot more interesting than I am. But we've got Ivy Zellman, well respected in the industry, and she's saying right here that this month's overall homebuyer demand rating equaled 86 on a scale of 0 to 100. So the higher the number, the more active buyers are, the higher buyer demand is. Now, it fell from 88. So again, not a major change, but what's important is it fell for the second straight month. So that's the first sequential decline since November. So that just kind of goes to show that buyer activity is waning just slightly. What's even more interesting is the number of people that think now is a good time to buy, especially when you look at what's happened with home prices. Okay, so when we take a look at that, there was a survey done, and it's the Home Purchase Sentiment Index. Okay, so what that is basically saying is it's asking people if they think now is a good time to buy. Well, back in June of 2020, 61% of the respondents said yes, it's a good time to buy. But as of May of this year, that was down to 35%. That's a big change. And a lot of that goes along with the headlines and the fear or the sense that things are changing and there's just an uncertainty about what the future holds. And we'll get into that in just a couple of minutes here. But one of the things in order for the market to change that we need is more inventory. And you may have noticed a few more listings popping up in your neighborhood, in your area. And we're seeing that pretty much across the country. We're starting to see more sellers come to the market. Normally we see this happen, starting March, April, but it's been slow to arrive. And you've probably got a lot of sellers out there wanting to take advantage of market conditions and what's been going on with home prices. and actually sell. But we are seeing that inventory increase. So, for instance, here's the month over month change in housing inventory across the country. And you can see that most of the country is in blue. And blue is a minimum of 5% increase in the amount of month over month change in inventory. So Texas, we're on base 9.6% increase in inventory month over month for the state as a whole. We haven't seen quite that much in the Frisco and Prosper markets where I work. California up 8%. And again, we are seeing inventory increases there, but in Southern California, Temecula, North County, where my team is also based, we haven't seen quite 8%, but we are seeing more. So as you can see, the vast majority of the country is starting to see increases in inventory. You've still got Mississippi, Alabama, Florida, up in New York, South Carolina, where it's lagging a little bit behind. And only Connecticut had a decrease in inventory, as well as actually only Connecticut and Hawaii. So only Connecticut on the mainland. Right. So a lot of this, as you're seeing inventory come up, you're seeing buyer activity wane a little bit. There's an awful lot of concern with regards to pricing, right? That has been the main issue that buyers are dealing with. The idea that it's overinflated and what goes up must come down. At some point, the air is going to come out of the market. It has to, right? Well, yes and no. I've talked a lot about potential bubble over the last couple of months, and none of the experts, the wealth management companies, anybody thinks that home prices are going to go down in the near term. As a matter of fact, the recently released home price expectation survey for quarter 2 actually shows what is now being predicted. Okay, so they're still forecasting nearly 9% appreciation this year, 5% in 2022, and then returning to more historical norms all the way through 2025. So for anyone that's been thinking of buying, but you're waiting for prices in a given market to come way down, there's no indication that that's going to happen right now. We're not seeing it. I'm not forecasting it. None of the major financial institutions are forecasting it. And you may say, but wait, Andrew, I've seen price reductions. And you're correct. You have started to see some price reductions. But don't confuse price reductions with the overall market decreasing. And what I mean by that is, with prices going up the way they have, you've got a lot of sellers that were a little over optimistic, right? So a house in the neighborhood sold and they're convinced they can get more, so they list the home way higher, right? So buyers are at the point where they're not willing to pay anything for any home. So with that in mind, those sellers are not getting the activity. We're starting to see the days on market creep up a little bit as well. And so those sellers are being forced to make price reductions to get back to where the home should be priced to begin with. Those are the price reductions that you're seeing. But those price reductions are not an indication that the overall market is going down. Again, a lot of the pricing surveys that you see, they're based on the median price, which is a little bit deceptive. CoreLogic puts out a report that actually looks at base pricing across the housing industry, and it's more accurate. I'll provide some updates on those in the next couple of weeks. But the median price is that midpoint in any given market. And you may have realized or known that more homes at the upper level of the price point or price range in a given market of what have been selling, because there haven't been as many lower priced homes as available. So that's pushing the median price up a little bit faster, or makes it appear a little bit higher than the actual pricing trend. A lot of words there, but hopefully you can kind of make sense of what I'm trying to say. The other thing that goes along with this, with pricing increases, especially when we look at affordability, it's become mortgage rates, right? So there's mortgage rates and then there's home prices. They tie together. And right now, it looks like mortgage rates are going to keep going up. Now, not tremendous. I mean, if you look here all the way out to quarter 2 of 2022, the average is right around 3.57%. So still a ridiculously good rate, but it just shows that the sub 3% mortgages that we have gotten used to are pretty much not going to be there in the future. And when more interest rates go up, mortgage rates go up, and home prices go up, that's what impacts affordability, right? So for anybody out there waiting and thinking that homes are going to get more affordable, I'm not sure that they are. And even JP Morgan released a quote on this just recently as well. So they said interest rates are still historically low, though they are inching up. Housing prices have spiked during the last 6 to 9 months, but we don't expect them to fall soon. And we believe they are more likely to keep rising. If you are looking to purchase a new home, conditions now may be better than 12 months from now. That's what we're hearing, not just from JP Morgan, but many of the wealth management companies out there. And with that in mind, I mean, I just want to put housing affordability into perspective for you. Okay, so this is housing affordability, the index going all the way back to 1990. And to give you an idea of what this chart means, the higher the number, the more affordable housing is. So you can see as of right now, we're sitting at an index number of 158. So if you're saying to yourself, yeah, but homes aren't as affordable as they were a couple of years ago, you're right. Housing affordability with what prices have done over the past 6, 7, 8 months, it's not as affordable as it was last year or the year before that, but it is more affordable than it was in 2018. We actually match where we were in 2017, right? And then you go back beyond that. If you look at all of those years from 1990 all the way up to 2008, homes are more affordable today. The only time that they were more affordable than they currently are over a long period of time was during the crash, right? 2008 through 2014, 15. That's the only time, right? And so I know there's many thinking that we're going to get back to that, and I just don't think we are. There's no there's no evidence of it anywhere whatsoever. In fact, Harvard recently released a study on 2021 state of the nation's housing, and here's what they had to say. These outside increases have raised concerns that a home price bubble is emerging. However, conditions today are quite different than in the early 2000s, particularly in terms of credit availability. The current climb in house prices instead reflects strong demand and tight supply, helped along by record low interest rates. So again, none of the forecasters and the reports on housing indicate that any sort of crash or bursting bubble is going to happen. Could there be a little bit of softening in prices in some second home markets? Yeah, I see that as a strong possibility, but not for the general population across the country. One of the people that I usually like to follow pretty closely, his name's Bill McBride. He has a blog called Calculated Risk. It's really good, and he actually predicted the housing crash. He started talking about this back in 2004, 2005, on what he saw was going on. He just was talking about the current market and as a comparison, and here's what he had to say. It's not clear at all to me that things are going to slow down significantly in the near future. In 2005, I had a strong sense that the hot market would turn and that when it turned, things would get very ugly. Today, I don't have that sense at all because all of the fundamentals are there. Demand will be high for a while because millennials need houses. Prices will keep rising for a while because inventory is so low. So, again, everyone's saying the same thing. And if you happen to see the update I did last week, the blog post I put out, it was all about what the wealth management companies have to say, along with industry experts. And the consensus is the same. Nobody is saying anything different at all with regards to where housing is going to go. Now, granted, unless something very unexpected happens, which could change everything, like it did with the pandemic, then the fundamentals are really strong. We have a supply issue right now more than anything else. And that's not going away anytime soon. And then the last question I usually get on that is, yeah, but what about all the foreclosures that are coming? What about all of those mortgages that went delinquent because of the pandemic and people losing their jobs? And the truth is, those have not materialized. One in two homes that initially went into forbearance are out of forbearance and actually never needed it. It was there as a safety net, so to speak. So when you look at that, here's the latest update for you as of June, and you can see that the number of mortgages in forbearance continues to decrease. Now we're down under 4% at this point in time. And even of those homes, there's a large number of them that if they cannot work something out with the bank, they could sell due to the fact that home prices have risen so much. Many of those that were borderline having equity in them, they may have bought FHA 3.5% down, something along those lines. When you look at what prices have done in the last 6, 8, 9 months, a lot of them have 10% equity in them now. A lot of them have enough money where if they're really in trouble, they could just put the home up for sale, sell, and clear all of the obligations. So it's a very different situation than what we experienced before. And so the idea that a flood of foreclosures or distressed properties are coming to the market, there's just no evidence of it right now. So again, I could talk about this stuff forever, but I'm sure you don't want to listen to me forever. And whether or not now is the right time for you to buy or sell, that's a decision that only you can make. I don't present this information to sway you one way or the other. I provide this information so that you can make an informed decision that's best for you and your situation, which is something only you can do rather than trying to guess. Hopefully, this helps give you an idea on where the fundamentals and the actual numbers within the marketplace are. But of course, if you have additional questions, if you need clarity on anything that I've covered here today, please feel free to reach out. I'm always happy to talk to you and share whatever additional information I can with you to help you make the best decision for you.